to be at the bottom end of that tie break, they still have a lot to work with and still have a lot of cards to play still.
And they'll be disappointed with that Fnatic loss, considering it went so down to the wire. And that map 3 that went into double OT was on Nuke that did go down in terms of a loss, 18-22. Jumping into Nuke, starting off on mousesports as map pick. You've got to think that for mousesports, if they can get that early start, get that early lead going for them, that may be at least the way to get things started.
Opportunity to pull things out of the hat, and again, for Big, they need other results to go well for them, so keep your eyes on those secondary streams. He went to the pistol round very quickly as mousesports just charged straight in towards Ramp, overwhelmed with Bymas on 2 frags against tabseN and tabseN. Can shine back in against ropz. Frozen starts taking his peak. Bomb's been dropped to the open. Frozen needs to get his second kill, but Keto let him walk no further, and Bymas has got to clutch it all. Triple up for him. Is he aware of where Gade is at? Facing for the USP, making a lot of noise around as Bymas has seen him. Shoulder baits him with the USP, desperate for the headshot, just trying to bait out Bymas to make a mistake, take even more tags against the man, and finally finish off the kill. But Gade to gain his own triple, and the pistol round for Big.
Yeah, excellent start from Big. They've got a bit of a stack out from Ramp. Good crossfire being initiated straight away. Playing anti-flash too from Gade, allowing him to find 3 kills and winning the clutch forward. For mousesports, they are leading the charge first in Group C for pistol round win percentage. To see them going down early on 0-1, not the best of signs for them. Good start for Big.
mousesports, no bomb plant, of course, all held up towards that ramp entrance. The Eagles will be coming out. The flashes and smokes and molotovs all the same. And cannons have been effective on long-range positions towards the outside. Big recognize this, and they're not going to be pressing too much presence towards outside. Just thabseN with that scout from a passive angle as well at CT. mousesports just playing out the default across their half of the map.
I think players to look out for mousesports has got to be Frozen and ropz. Both of those guys have had stellar games so far in this group stage. And being able to really press the issue. Gade just jiggle peeking out to this ramp position. It's going to get tagged up by the Deagle early on, so a bit of damage coming through.
Footsteps heard by tabseN. At least 1 set, maybe 2, gets tagged up. Thinking there might be players over at Squeaky, so a bit mispositioned and miscalled there from Big. A good shot in from Frozen, opens things up out towards Heaven. thabseN down. tabseN responds at least. Finds Dexter out mid to a 4v4.
tabseN's got to try and fight his way back in for this. Do they expect another peak to come through from Mini? It is all damage being done to the early section, and Bymas is starting to work outside with a teammate to get to lockers.
Bymas gets another good kill. Now Deagle. 2 frags between them. Frozen, of course, chiming in earlier. Bymas has been tagged pretty heavily for his own right, and of course, sneaking in from lockers and hell, hoping to catch off Gade. As for Mars out, aggression in towards ramp. A core could wrap in and probably catch him off guard, but he's got to extend so far out towards that corner position. 25 seconds. mousesports have got to make a move here. Gade, recognizing that, looks into the right time to get the information, but not get the kills. Another frag falls in favor of ropz. It's a 4-on-2 for mousesports.
That time is incredibly low. They might try and send bodies down here just to deny the bomb from going down.
Oh, SMG almost caught it off, but overwhelmed by Bymas in the end. Trying to prioritize his life above the bomb itself, but Keto swings in, gets the frag, and even though he does go down, it will be enough for mousesports to get that first back on the T-side board. Big trying their hardest to deny the bomb plant, but ultimately costing them themselves.
And even for Gade, it's a difficult position for him to hold out in ramp with him being as low HP when they start wrapping into hell. Really good shots coming through from Bymas and Frozen up to sort of that Mini and Heaven position. And that whole round, it just relies on Big trying to create the chaos. Keep that timer low for mousesports, deny that bomb from going down. Unfortunately for tabseN, because he falls so early, it means that Keto can't just stay alive in decontamination and wait for the timer. He's got to then go in for a bit of a play himself. And for Big, they're forced back on a force by themselves.
5-7s and Eagles. Kevlar on several players. thabseN the highest roller at $900. And an early casualty for Frozen to take on to tabseN. Quick kill opening things up before the likes of mousesports. Again, slow, methodical style into this T-half. A bit faster than usual as Bymas exits out of Squeaky very early in against Keto. 5-on-3, making it 2-1. Dexter and Bymas, quick crossfire. Gade, last man standing in the battle in the newest edition. Only going so far as to not even do damage, actually. The bullets just sail right past Bymas. He gets his second up on the mousesports board.
You got to think that for the mousesports side as well, they had a little bit of a difficult start in this group. They only took a map off of FaZe. They had their overpass map pick go very down to the wire at 14-16 loss. Didn't even get to double digits on Ancient or Mirage up against Na'Vi, and have had to try and come back from 0-2 down, winning a couple of series in a row and looking to try and make it 3.
And at this late stage of the group stage, how important that 3 could be. ropz. That's an important round for Big right now, as they just picked up that first frag on the SMG. Not a lot of anything to work with. Picking up easy kill with some easy money from Arsenal strikes. That's another kill. Turn against Gay. The USP does catch a dink off, and Keto can actually finish off the kill. So 1 frag gain, but nothing in the grand scale of things. ropz make it a double up with his SMG, and only if Bymas was lost for mousesports.
And in terms of the carry on from last season, both teams are looking to get into the playoffs. Big went last in their group, 21st to 24th, and mousesports were exactly the same. Last in Group B for mousesports, last in Group A for the big side. Now, this time around, there is no chance of them being last. That's where EG sit at the current moment, but being able to get into the playoffs and have one of those deeper runs, we've already seen teams connect through up in Group A and Group B, yet to see any from Group C just yet.
Orp looking in. Out to the T-side line, passive positions, and that jump phase from tabseN trying to get info. Cost him his life. A core kicks things off for mousesports, and frozeN knows exactly where tabseN is. Perfect taps to the headshots, and Mouse read that outside play like a book. Might even catch Keto for 3 casualties. Not a lick of damage taken. This is a wonderful round for mousesports.
This really is beautiful. The way in which the AWP is able to strike on the jiggle and then just frozeN doing his own thing. White swinging onto the AWP. tzyN's trying to go aggro to get a pick back in lobby. Gets dealt with by ropz. And this whole round for Big has completely fallen apart.
Yeah, not much left for them in this 1v5 for Gade. He picked up pretty effectively at some point soon. And there it is. frozeN closes it out for all 5 alive for mousesports. And this is one hell of a way to set the pace. They might have lost that pistol, but since then it has been all theirs, and they have looked so confident in doing so.
I'd like to see a tactical timeout coming through from Big in the next stages of the couple of rounds to come. frozeN, just a crosshair placement out to garage and into main itself. Just being able to find some easy picks. And going into round 6, we won't see much investment at all, and low numbers. tabseN yet to be able to get a kill up on this city side.
Drop down into the default positions for the pistols. Big early struggles for them on this first map of the series. Of course, the map pick 'em mousesports, you can't be too shocked that this is how it's going, and you can't be too shocked at the confidence. Will it spiral out of control, though? It's very early doors to tell you, but keep in mind how possible that could be. Right now, dexter's inserted himself behind the CT line. Catches info on tabseN, he's going to wait. He's going to wait. I don't think he'll go for a knife kill, but he'll just try and look for more CT presence and just quickly executes the player. Gets into locker rooms to continue the flank.
Yeah, maybe thinking to himself, I can get all the way into hell and we could just bring the bomb out to ramp, but realizing just take the opportunity as it comes, deal with that first player. mousesports can just slow it down. Keto now gets picked off by the AWP, and this is where we're going to see Big start to overextend, start looking for frags, because they know the opportunities are just starting to come quite bare.
And they kind of have to do the extension plays and catch players off guard like they just did to Dexter right there. Frag found. Gade does get responded to. Player wraps in from the hot position. Tries to go out to a squeaky. ropz has just missed the vision. So a core's going to get caught here, at least for tzyn. Great shot on the first man. Second one also goes down. ropz there with a trade back. And tzyn fighting on the outside. Picked up an AK, but cannot convert it into a kill. So just those 3 casualties. And I would say damage done on most circumstances, but the money for mousesports is so high. So not really a lot of impact for Big in that one.
Yeah, the money situation is great for the international squad. For Big, though, you can still look at that round as a positive in terms of knowing, okay, we actually almost sort of got somewhere there. We did a lot of damage up to them. Let's try and use that as a positive notion. Get tzyn on the AWP as quickly as we can. How can we try and strike back early? We haven't really seen a lot of aggro plays out from ramp, out to outside position 2, secret, back at T-Red, out from garage. Anytime they've made those sort of attempts and those over peaks, they're just getting punished.
Continue with the punishment at this stage. The AWP forcing forward for a core. Up top of the silo position, bearing down upon the edge of that smoke ahead of the mini angle. We'll get re-smoked as well as they try and go for the cross smokes. mousesports continuing to play towards outside, taking some damage initially on a core, but negligible in the grand scheme of things.
Just get a re-smoke down for frozeN. Opportunity for them to start wrapping outside. mousesports, I've got the information that tabseN was playing quite deep in CT Spawn. The cross can come in through Secret and just try and get players down to that lower bomb side. Oh my goodness.
What a swing. What a swing from Bymas. tabseN didn't even know it was about to hit him. The AWP posted up there as well and still couldn't get away with a pick or even a tag. Just dead to rights. mousesports. Now I've got to deal with Gade alone here on the B side. Backup can get in from ramp, but it's only one player. The other two got a bit of a longer rotation, and tabseN still believes they might make their way in from lobby. So Gade's basically siphoned off. Backup is now going to make their way in.
Yeah, it might be too late, though. Gade needs help, and he needs it now. Getting closer to 30 seconds on the clock, and now mousesports are starting to connect into this lower take.
Counter flashes to the CT side, doing more impact to their teammates, and now mousesports consider the wraparound back upstairs. 20 seconds. Footsteps are being made here by the T, so they're not being very subtle about this. Bomb plant will be secured, and Big now know that they're hard rotate back in, having detected the lobby control. Now got to turn into an A-site retake. Gade, first man on the scene, but Keto backing up at CT. This looks like it might be exit frags and save.
Yeah, it's the best call. You don't have the util, you don't have the information if the T's have taken back this lobby control since going up the vent to the upper site take. Big just thought they had the right read going down to that lower bomb site. ropz trying to keep eyes on for any of the stragglers to the outside position. mousesports continuing their streak. What a shot that was coming through from Bymas. You feel for tabseN because blink and you miss it and you're a goner.
Blink and you miss it, and the round goes the way of mousesports as well. I don't know what you do to counteract that. Like, tabseN just had to be quicker, it felt like. And by all accounts, he should have got that kill, so he might be kicking himself, and Big might be giving a bit of beratement. 6-1 up for mousesports, on for the Brazil in the next round, and the tactical timeout coming in at the right time here for the CT side.
It's not over just yet for Big. They do need to make some adjustments in terms of some of the reads. They're not having enough lurk plays and are not enough info moments coming through from them. In that round, we know that Gade was kind of struck to that lower bomb site by himself. They started clearing out lobby and being able to connect up with tabseN at ramp and thinking about bringing all players towards that lower bomb site. It's been quite gambly for Big so far. Even man advantages haven't come easy. Cannot remember the last time Big had a 5-on-4. Have to look back at that pistol round, really.
That's been it. Pistol and then six rounds on the trot for mousesports. Feeling so simple for the T side at line. If it keeps becoming simple, then it's going to become a simple map. What precedent could that set for the rest of the series? Is there going to be another 2-0 on for mousesports side? Kind of struggle to believe it at this stage, and Gade wants to make it a non-reality. Great kill on ropz to open things up. But it's just that one frag here for Big.
tabseN just spamming through the diagonal smokes outside. There is one player looking across. Seriously with this AWP out, and Ramp can make it a 5-on-3, and so he does.
Dexter, bit aggressive. Caught off guard for it, so advantage for Big now extends to the two players. Of course, spots one player up in heaven. I think he's also been seen himself, so Big being careful about where they take face from, though, and that's probably the AWP, and now they know for certain it is, as tabseN gives up his life.
Even for Gade on this jump spot, they might try and boost the AWPer up to look in towards the double doors and catch him off.
Scope in, Gade has been seen in the jump phase, incendiary involved, and that forces mousesports to get right back out of dodge. Rotating onto that A-bomb site is going to be the harder site to hit, though. M4's in, AWP's still sitting and waiting for mousesports to act here. 40 seconds, they got to move.
A big no with that boost up. There was at least 2 players down at that lower bomb site. Acor was there with the AWP, so they could have the information of taking back the lobby control and trying to see if they could siphon mousesports off in this A-split.
tabseN's got a smoke as well towards Hell. 25 seconds, we're going to get the shot in and get back out of dodge. Keto on site. Incendiary to come forward out towards me. That will drive that player out of position. That's Frozen. That will burn quite significantly as well. tabseN gets the kill on a core. 2 players left standing. Bymas heard. 10 seconds. The bomb's on his back. Flash forward into the site. Frozen gets caught. Bymas alone. And tabseN hits a no-scope instead. And that'll be the second round for Big at last.
And it just shows how much impact Big could really find on the server when they actually get a good start. When they pick off that first player of ropz, when the AWP tabseN is keeping his eyes locked for a lurk out from ramp and Dexter gives up the angle. That 5-on-3, Big just start running down the clock. Yeah, tabseN gets caught off by Acor just playing outside of Secret. everything just comes down to the crossfire being set on that upper bomb site. Great incendiary out towards that main position, because for frozen, he was looking to try and split him with the Heaven players, but when he got mollied, there was nothing that he could really do from there.
Oh, again, clinical on his entries for ropz and co. mousesports. Barely missing a beat so far in these T rounds, especially with his entry frag, and Court. Keto's M4 got to look in out of the secret position. He's seen them all. They've left it alone. They haven't checked it, and that allows a bit of a window that Keto exploited to get one frag and a tag on Frozen pretty significantly. He still turns that up against tabseN, so despite the advantage that could have been forced out from Secret, it's a 4v2 for mousesports, and it continues to go down this road as Gade and tzyN are just mopped up.
There's not really much Big can do in that sort of situation. They lose the first fight instantly, and their idea in that round is keep pressure on. We'll get a swing up from Secret, we'll get a swing out from Mini, we'll get a swing from Lockers. That whole emphasis for the German side is we want to keep fighting. We want to try and catch them off guard with a nade out, trying to get down into Secret, not expecting us to just keep getting these crossfires set in. And for mousesports, it was completely the opposite. Frozen was able to get the AWP being the low HP player, and from there, the crossfires for the T side, they're expecting that aggression to come out, punishing Big.
ropz kills. tzyN does find Frozen and freezes him past the smoke. Big gap in the smokes, meanwhile, out towards the red box cross. There's another smoke that can go down for Bymas. Very far away, however. Can't really work in the position. We'll put it up in the end of the smokes. Suppressed for the CT forces as well. mousesports at least not getting away with a man advantage right now against Big.
Haven't seen a lot of ramp takes and from mousesports. We've seen a couple of lurks here or there to try and drive some attention over. It's been very depicted to this outside bomb site. ropz waiting for some aggression to come through. The rest of the T-side players just all sitting behind T-Red.
Resmoke onto the CT side. ropz continuing to suppress and hold. Maybe by an avenue in for mousesports, going into the last minute of the round, 50 seconds actually specifically on the clock. Might be the lone player to take ramp. If he times as well against Gade, he could catch him as he's looking the wrong way. Sneaking through that smoke here. ropz might be the man to focus on. Of course, expecting someone to have pressed up here at Hell, but so far so little is seen by mousesports, and ropz is just waiting and biding his time. Still, tzyN's going to act to get that frag in, up on a silo boost, in fact.
Yeah, just having the wraparound play, it's too slow to come through from mousesports. ropz does catch at least the one player out from ramp, and now they can start diving to that lower bomb. tabseN gets a couple of kills, the bomb gets dropped, ropz has to try and clutch.
Full-blown ace clutch at that player coming in at Decon as the AWP here in the doorway open up. ropz going to get that bomb down, try to swing against him. Knows that he's there somewhere. It's all a case of timing. You see how close his crosshair was to the man's head. Flashbang in. Should be a peek up. The AWP ops against it. Double doors still being covered off by ropz. They continue to burst fire and hope for the wall bangs. Door opens, AWP looks in, time's running short. There are no kits available for the CT side, and ropz taps his way forward, gets that quadra. Not quite that ace. There should be time for tzyN regardless, as he looks for the third for Big.
And that's a beautiful hold coming down from tabseN at that lower bomb site. He's all by himself, is able to get a couple of kills on the off angle as they open up the double doors, and ropz trying to do everything there, getting back out to the ramp entrance with that bomb planted open, has to try and deal with two players out from decontamination. Big gave him a difficult task of isolating those 1v1s when they can pick together. You've got to imagine as well with that advantage, tzyN just getting outside, mousesports being too slow on that cross, and ropz just not being able to catch the player that aggressed out from Hut into T-Roof, and then tzyN's like, right boys, they're all outside.
Kind of a common theme so far in this matchup for mousesports. Whenever they've gone slow, they've lost the rounds. Whenever they've gone with decent pace, they've been able to take them. So maybe forcing forward and not playing out rush tactics, but very fast defaults into rounds. Some very quick entry kills. There's going to be the potential there. Might be something deeper to that, but mousesports taking a tactical probably to discuss that particular topic. They've still got buys available. Again, their money has been great since the word go. Watch these kills in for tabseN once again. Part of the play that was able to secure our last round for Big. Might be a crucial element for Big in this next round as well. mousesports towards outside, and tabseN and Gade will be the players to meet them.
You've got to imagine that that's going to give a fair bit of confidence moving forward for tabseN. That was his first couple of kills of the entire map, going into round 10 in the last. Back to outside once again. Some skylights being opened up for some util to potentially go through that upper bomb site. Acorn with the orb hasn't really been playing out from lobby all too often.
And frozen taking that damage out of sight in general. Sprains continue back past Big as they hope for a lucky break against the mousesports side. They won't know that he's been tagged, at least not right now. Haven't got anyone in mini, so they cannot get the information together that Frozen took some bullets. mousesports continuing the slow pace here. They haven't lost the man advantage this time. Inside sight take seems to be. Bymas going to slow walk out with a bomb on his back. The first man in, and tabseN will catch that kill. dexter there with a response. There's a player up in the rafters and a player in the back lines as well. Info for the T side, but they got to get these trades together, and dexter just can't seem to adjust to the right angle. ropz can trade him. 2v1 for tabseN, and both ropz and Frozen are tagged.
And no one invested into a kit going into round 11, so for tabseN, he's got to keep that in mind.
Nice to switch out to an automatic weapon if possible. The AWP sees the M4 down. Frozen watching. Adjustment from the orb's not good enough. And the AK wins the fight to secure 8 for mousesports.
What I love in that upper site take is the walkout from Squeakdoor. They aren't really fighting mousesports, are they? dexter is still hidden behind that Tetris angle. They are waiting for the overpeaks. They are waiting for Big to go for those wide swing attempts. So rather than being able to clear out the upper bomb site really quickly, just having a lot of pace after that early contact gets initiated, they slow it down. They wait for Big to start extending out, and the trading game is so perfect to give them that 2v1, get that post plant in, try and see if they can get tabseN on the Big side to clutch by himself. And mousesports, they find their 8th and reset the economy.
Time after time, Big have tried to force forward, and they've just lost control, and money has not built up. The lost bonus keeps not getting knocked back. No money to build into, and Big heavily investing every chance they get. Deagle in for Gate, however, does try and change the narrative. ropz gets caught, rifle for tabseN now. Going to continue aggressing out towards lobby alongside Keto. Got to be a chance for Bymas to swing, because he might have to do so right here. Molotov's in a secret, Squeaky forces those players forward into the site.
With the bomb control outside of lobby, this is actually a great position for Big to be in. dexter being out of the field with Gade. Bymas needs to fight a kill, and it doesn't quite happen.
dexter comes up from heaven, deals with one, struggles to deal with a second, comes forward in the end as tabseN now suppressed into the corner. They are unaware of the player that was on the roof. I think tabseN was wrapping around on top of Silo. That might actually be a bad thing for tabseN, because he thinks his back is safe. He was wrong. Frozen comes up with a spray, and now tabseN is all that remains here. Drops in against the core, misses his shot. A core does not. There's 9 to the board of the T side.
And that's still a little bit frustrating for Big, not being able to get more out of that round. They did a lot of damage. The bomb was still outside. It meant that someone from mousesports had to go all the way out and get it from Frozen. Even tabseN with the AK doing at least considerable amount, and not enough to be able to turn the rounds in their favor. And for the German side, all 3 rounds that they've found so far on the city basis have been individual, Jay. They haven't strung any together, and that's hurt with the economy stay.
There's 6 rounds in the lead for mousesports, guaranteed 3 at least by the turn of the half. Continuing to keep the hurt up against Big. A rebuy back in with the guns for the CAT forces. Still yet to even think about breaking the economy of Mouse. Setting for ropz, gets that first kill on tabseN, kicks things off on the right foot.
This is another round in which Big just do not have a kit in play at all. tabseN to outside and Garage is hoping for a little bit more with that gap and the smoke. At least brings it back to a 4v4 with the duel.
Not close to catching a second player, but T-side in general pretty much evading the CT forces. Good reaction to tabseN, who tries to force the issue past the smoke. Bymas deals with him, and tabseN continues to hold with the big green, suppressed behind a credit card. Can't really repeat back into garage, as Gade's going to have to readjust. They've crossed out towards secret. They're going to go to the B site.
Keto can be quite quick on rotate out from ramp to try and dive lower and help his teammate out from Gade. ropz is still lurking here in top site, wanting to deal with the rotations when that bomb goes down at lower.
Molotov in a dark. AUG is close to the site itself. Bymas trying to force out the man to make a mistake, but Gade continues to hold this exact same position.
Back to upper.
Defend those so many rounds ago. You're right about the upper take, and ropz are going to get caught by tabseN for it. AWP baited back in the shot. Bymas got across. Does get legged for it. The bomb's on the back of dexter, though. He's going to force forward and try to get the plant in.
Again, no kit to come through for the big side. They've got the man advantage. They've got a backstab in from lobby.
Flashes in. Oh, the CT player makes his way around. Dexter with the AWP now. Finds his kill. Needs to get 2 more. The clutch. Sees the shoulder weight of both individuals. Flicks straight against the second man. 1v1 against Gay coming in from the B side. And one missed AWP shot costs the round for the T side. It's a 4th on the board for Big.
Oh, that's down to the wire. That's a great clutch to come through for Gade, and it does seem that when he's getting involved and when he's finding these important kills, they're actually converting rounds. Think back to that pistol. Everything trying to rely on Dexter with the AWP to just isolate those 1v1s, doing a great job of getting back to the site, but not quite finding that finishing blow. A Big, don't let mousesports get up to 10, but it doesn't mean the international team won't get there.
Possible they could go even further, and again, with how these patterns have worked out in this game, Big have gained a round, and mousesports have immediately responded to, and then carried it forward into an eco, and it could carry forward into a force buy in round 15. Big know this. Gotta get this round win on the board. Searson takes the AWP outside and gets swung upon again. These AKs have been beating him to the punch every single round he's forced with an opening kill. ropz take the 6 points of health, but Frozen's the man credited with the opener. tabseN responds to him, but Keto goes down in trade.
tabseN's still pressing. He wants to hold this aggression outside, and if he times it right, he can actually start backstabbing all the way around. It all comes down to the info and how many players they realize are down here in lobby.
Smoke's on secret. One player's already dropped there. In through the vents, we go for a flank. Oh, tabseN, they need big plays like this. We mentioned earlier how they had to force forward with the pistols. Now with the rifles being as awkward as they have been against the mousesports side, and now being down by a man advantage, tabseN knows. Check out Squeaky, seeing nothing. Continue the wraparound towards this ramp entrance. A core, didn't hear the footsteps. tabseN taking a risk, but he could get so much out for it. Burst fire the wrong moment, and the AWP connects it. Oh, Big just can't catch a break at all here.
Oh, they whiff it completely. And even Dexter knows there's someone out towards single door. The spray through the smoke gate gets dealt with. And tzyXN's his best bet is just to hold on to this M4. He really can't afford to go for this. They've got no money, no loss bonus to work with. mousesports, you can see that all happening, couldn't you? You can see the way that they're speeding things up ever so slightly out to ramp. tabseN just not quite getting the timing.
That sucks so much. That sucks so much there. Oh, Big. And even tzyXN goes down, doesn't even save the M4, trying to look for one of the AKs. Ah, Big. That... I think it just really describes how this whole thing has gone so far, and how, I don't want to say bad this map has been, but how much we expected mousesports to dominate here. Yeah. And they've gone even one step beyond.
We're just seeing the little extras, the insult to injury coming through for the big side. mousesports being so much more composed in so many of these situations. Big, their opportunities in terms of converting rounds have not come very often. We are seeing an aggressive move outside, and tzyXN with the scout is going to deal with Dexter, get themselves an opening pick.
Finally, a start out for Big. Finally, a way to work in. Is it going to carry forward and continue being a man advantage, though? Can Big extend it any further than this, or will mousesports find the trades that they always have done? They've got the better weaponry, even despite the man advantage. ropz's AK does get caught off, and actually Gade and tabseN chime in against each other. Bymas also drops as well, and just like that, Big turn their FAMASas into success. Frozen in a 1 versus 5 scenario. Challenged by Keto, and this Deagle gets a dome shot. And where were those rounds for Big? Clearly not enough in this first half. In the second, it might have to be more like that after this break.
As we move through the dust, nights turn into days wanna by and
Round 10-5 going into the CT half for mousesports, and things just looked fantastic for them. Every player went right, every counter went wrong for Big, and as a result, you can sort of see the second half going pretty effectively for the mousesports camp to egg.
Yeah, you really could. They took it by the horns in that first half, and they looked the better team. So now going into their CT bases, this is where they can really shine, and it's all going to start with this pistol round. 2 sets of util to come through from Big. No one looking to go outside. Instead, it could just be an upper take or a fake upper and into ramp.
Windows open for Frozen, going downstairs, trying to wrap in as mousesports try and play a bit more of a complex defensive. It's very passive from Big. Look at how passive tabseN is. He expects mousesports to try and force forward.
It all just comes down to being able to get the upper hand, force out the mistake early. ropz just on this jiggle peek out to ramp, hasn't seen anything. Big have been so silent about this, and now we get closer to the minute on the clock.
Taps on ropz, gets that kill on k1to. Big kill for him. He opens up the half for mousesports once again. Forced away, but still the T's are going to extend against that player, so they might still catch him off. He's forced outside, back up towards heaven. tabseN taps his way on Bymas, sees that one player. Looking at dexter as well, gets that train involved at long last for the T side as they draw first blood for their half of things. But still the 4v3, and tabseN actually makes it 3v3. Working in towards that heaven player now. A core might get pressured here. He's got plenty of individuals to try and flank him here, and Big are trying to making their way in towards the A side. Taps the gate. Finally, the man advantage turns the way of Big.
Yeah, ropz is looking to do some damage in this outside position, doing a lot of wall bang through that floor. Not quite enough to be able to find the kill, and now Frozen's coming through from hard.
Bomb has been planted.
Down, Frozen making his way closer still. Looks to the open plant position on the site gate. Trying to face in. ropz coming in from the mini position, going to try and flank as well. No one's got direct eyes on me, so there's an opportunity for him to work in, but obviously he's going to extend so far around the corners to get these players involved. Gay detected, shot on, Frozen gets traded back by tabseN, tizzy and tag to 1 point of health, and tabseN still continues to swing, goes massive with a quadra and gets an all-important pistol for Big.
Big did a really good job of being able to scramble the rotations. Yeah, they took a lot of early damage out from ramp, from both ropz and from A-Core, giving themselves a 5-on-3 for mousesports. tabseN on this outside lurk, though, just drawing the attention, getting the 2 kills in from Squeakdoor, allowing just the heaven players to do their own thing, to only have to worry about 1 player at most, dive down into that site itself, get the post plant in, and establish that crossfire. Big, 2 from 2 in pistols.
mousesports forced to invest, however. We're seeing the Deagles coming forward for them. Seeing how effective these pistols and how these entries can be for mousesports, even when they're at the disadvantage with weapons. We've seen so many ridiculous moments from these guys on the T half, so CT side might not be the most impossible thing in the world, but tabseN continuing his rampage. He finds a core as the first frag.
It's great to see the in-game leader getting fired up in terms of the frags on the board. And Frozen playing out to double doors is the only defender of this lower bomb site. He's going to have to at least find 1, 2 kills at most. Good
tag on cxSN. Now that door not been in the way, that might have been a kill. The nade coming in is going to have to force him back. In general, the T's get out of dodge here. Big don't even want to continue challenging that Deagle. Go into the A site instead. Got 1 player over at Tetris. Bymas behind it. Got cxSN first to face. The Deagle barely gets that kill. k1to can't respond towards it. Player up in heaven as well being the next main concern for Big. The bomb goes down to the open. Then other CTs can't flank past the smoke.
Unless they get a kill within the next 5 or 10 seconds, it might just have to be a save here for mousesports. They're not in the best of positions, and they don't really have any util to get this retake on.
10 seconds have ticked past, and there's been nothing coming through for them. The head Kevlar and the upgrade pistol's more valuable going into the eco, of course, because, oh, there's not a lot of anything in firepower or cash to work with, so at this early stage of the half, it does make a lot of sense for mousesports to save in this one. Big get away with only 1 casualty, 1 MAC-10 lost. Frozen going to try and make it a few more as he is set up for exit frags. And tabseN reads the man, so only 2 alive for mousesports, 7 to the board of Big.
This is the first time that Big have been able to start stringing rounds together. It's all been individual. They got round 15, 16, and now 17. They're closing the gap. Even though mousesports have been the much more dominant team when it comes to Nuke, when you look at that difference of 3, you start thinking to yourself, that's not impossible for Big to close.
Five-round deficit is not the most impossible comeback in the world, and Big know this, so do mousesports. The issue for me was always how Big were performing in that first half and how constantly getting shut down by mousesports even when they had the advantages. So nice, encouraging change of pace, but cxSN still taking casualties as Frozen kicks things off with the Deagle straight onto him as he tried to go for the run out from Silo towards Mini. Dexter tags up and eventually dealt with by Gay. Deagle out here for Frozen, trying to get another good frag in, but ropz and Bymas, there's a trade against their teammate. 3v2, tabseN turned it to 2v2. k1to, the second player to work with, they're going to dive back down for the vents.
Now, Bymas has been able to pick up a Galil. A-Core doing damage outside. k1to getting down to about 50 points or so. Bymas coming through on the vents quickly.
Footsteps heard upstairs, in from vents. Bymas is going to challenge onto Keto. Likely he can win this fight. He's got a Galil in hand, but the deagle is more than enough. And it's tabseN alone in at dark. Looking open to the decon doorway. Double doors will open up. He's hidden to both CT individuals. Utility in, the flashbang over. Bymas looking in. They won't check it. They're back to turn. It's a spray down easy to win the 8th round for Big.
Oh, tabseN is coming out of the gate, absolutely flying on this T side. Multi-kill round after multi-kill, continuing to bring able to put up numbers. And for mousesports in that situation, no one looking out to that ramp entrance. Really well played in the 1v2. At the same time, though, yes, they get the round together, and that was a good clutch to come through from tabseN. They still lost a lot of damage up against that eco.
Rifle reinvestment for mousesports could still reset them in the same sort of way that they were doing on the T-side half. Money's not great for Big. Yes, you got cyeSN riding high, but then you got tabseN at the lowest low. $50 for him. And no loss bonus for Big to fall back on, so... Very, very big switch round for mousesports. Could swing momentum right back to their favor.
Now, outside, mousesports aren't really that interested in taking an early contact. They're going to play the AWP up in heaven, and frozeN quite passive out from the credit card position, not spamming through those smokes, not being able to give up any early info on where they're playing from.
Molotov's in a secret. tabseN going to leave that charge. Bit of a gap to work within that smoke, and frozeN actually exploits it. A core seeing them cross back with the AWP. Can't quite connect the timing, unfortunately, so it's that kill found initially, and mousesports have the man advantage as Big continue to play down a B.
Haven't really rotated a lot of players to this lower bomb side. They're going to have one player ropz there, and rotation going to come through from A-Core at ramp.
AWP and AUG, the AWP got a challenge on that double doors AWP, but the Molotov forces him away. Looks back towards observation window instead. The flash is over, the Molotov's back down. tabseN with a swing out with his back turn. dexter progresses back towards that ramp control, gets cyeSN, ropz and a core, get trading back and forth as dexter holds his own, drops that bomb, leaving it all to tabseN. No bomb plant bonus, it seems, for the T side, as Big may have got away with the pistol and the conversions. tabseN desperate to tap his way onto a win here, but no clutch today. It's 11 for mousesports.
And for me, that wasn't enough pace to come through from Big. They'd already given a lot of information away outside when the spam comes in, the nade connects, and there's that gap in the smoke. So there is mass numbers outside, and that's what mousesports know. ropz is completely alone in that lower bomb site. A-Core's still rotating in. He's getting mollied out from ramp entrance. And for Big, they slow that round down. They don't just execute out to the site immediately. And that slight hesitation, that 5-6 seconds or so, where it gets stalled, allows ropz to reposition on the site, try and bait distraction, and then mass numbers from mousesports start coming in down from the vents and being able to combine onto the site itself, ending that streak of Big.
Right time for Big to take a tactical as well here. Again, the money has been wrecked. There's still high rollers, still potential for drops in the next round. cyeSN, I'm looking at you. 1 deagle, 2 deagles, 3 deagles brought down, so this will be a deco round, it seems. I want to force the issue back here, despite tabseN being on double eco status himself. Big know that they can still get a buyout for round 21. Not the best of position for them to be in, though, and they know this well. Fully reset off the back of the first gun rifle.
And that just shows how much economical damage was done in round 18 on that eco where tabseN had to clutch the 1v2. mousesports, everything starts leaning their way once again. Kiddo getting dropped early on, and this eco could be able to find a couple of picks here or there.
Jade caught, tabseN, tabseN, and cyeSN. And ways in as the double doors do get opened up, and tabseN just enters straight into the B site. Not making any qualms about this. Information has been gained by the CTs. They must have heard that door. But cyeSN with the bomb is out towards lobby, and he's been siphoned off by the CT forces, both bearing in upon him. Now, here in the wrap room, ropz will look for the kill, gets the kill on tabseN in the end. Dexter gets the final frag, dealing with the last. Decent eco cleaned up effectively by the CT forces, 12-8. Big should have a buy, a scrappy buy, but a buy.
tabseN's going to get chucked over a Galil, so he's going to be able to involve himself in some sort of way in this round. Have a look at the moment of the kill distribution, though, Jay. Over from the mousesports side to Big. It's a lot cleaner. You've only got a couple of individuals really standing out, tabseN and Gade. Outside of that, tabseN, Keto, and cyeSN, they're yet to get a double of that 10 on the board.
It's encouraging for Gade, obviously, with him being a newer addition to the roster. Seriously, it's a bit more concerning. That AWP needs to be impactful in Counter-Strike, especially in the modern meta. Only 8 frags deep for him. Had a serious amount of trouble dealing with mousesports, both in the T and CT halves thus far. AWP, of course, been having no worries whatsoever here. He's set towards outside, go back up towards heaven. tabseN tries to work into the outside controls. Big play out the default, but they want to go towards ramp. 4 players stacked in, and there's only 1 man to deal with. ropz falls.
tabseN even catching frozen outside, so now being able to get themselves a 5v3, start combining down to that lower bomb side. Dexter's already rotated there, but his teammates are still on rotate.
tabseN's crosshair set for the headshot. Nice and easy. Aiming a bit high for my liking, but still comes up with the frag. Regardless, the bomb will go down. 2v5. The mousesports now they've got to save here. It feels like Dexter was already going to rotate away from Secret, unless he met some T-side presence, so mousesports out of dodge, saving an AK and an AWP. Should be enough with the rest of the loss bonus and the rest of the savings to get a full buy together.
mousesports missed their window of opportunity in this round, because you have to realize with the economy being as limited as where it is, mousesports win that, they get up to 13, you're probably looking at a 14-8 scoreline, and you can pretty much just wrap it up there and there. Instead, Big are giving themselves a fighting chance, even looking to find some exit kills towards that CT position. That's going to be able to drop the AWP, meaning that Bymas with the AK is going to be the only player surviving onto a rifle going into that next round. Not a crazy amount of money for them to work with. They'll still be able to get an investment forward. And for Big, you kind of talk about syrsoN, again, ranked first in the entire Pro League, all 3 groups for success in opening duels in front of Jame, Cadian, Jakino, and Nico. So when you put that all into the equation, you think to yourself, okay, if he's not performing to the level we've seen from him previously, how are we going to be able to do that? Well, maybe putting a bit more emphasis on tabseN and Gade is the answer for this T side.
It was pretty uncharacteristic if you mentioned that stat line, and he's been down in the dumps, and he's lost a number of entry duels off the cross of this map up. Again, I bring mention back to the issues we've seen from him back in the Secret entrance. Speaking of issues, mousesports have some issues of their own right, it looks like. Small technical pause with them having some connection issues to the server itself. Like, doesn't look like it's going to last too much longer here, so we'll just jump right back in. But yeah, for Big, there are some key issues that I feel like if it wasn't the case that syrsoN was having as many troubles as he was, maybe this could be a closer scoreline. Maybe they could even have like a slight lead right now. There's potential in that fact for me.
I disagree. To me, you can't pin it on one individual. And looking at the way that Big played in that first half, they weren't consistent enough. They only allowed themselves to win individual rounds. They had the economy on the back foot the entire first half. Now in the second, things do look on the up, and things do look a little bit more pretty. There's a little bit more power behind themselves. And yeah, even though the scoreline is still in a deficit of 3, they're showing us better signs in the second than they did in the first.
It has been a pretty decent start and follow-up for Big, even though mousesports were able to reset them early. Money's starting to come together. All 5 players were alive in that previous round, so there should be a good enough float for them to rebuy if mousesports can take this next round. Big have a couple of fallbacks, but ideally we want to be winning a couple of these rounds soon. Trying to make up the difference between them and mousesports' side, and from there, of course, work in and try and take over the map if possible. It is mousesports' pick, so it's unlikely with how mousesports have set themselves up in this CT half. But at least it's not looking as one-sided as it was earlier. That we were looking down the barrel of a 12-3 half at one point. For Big to make it up as far as they've gotten, it is encouraging.
And for both teams, they did have some struggles in the last season of Pro League, but in Season 12, it was actually a very good season for both of them. Yeah, you can say that the cores were slightly different with the 4th and 5th player being changed. Overall, though, 4th place coming through from mousesports, having a good run in that lower bracket. And for Big as well, being able to get 5th and 6th, they had a good event too, being eliminated by that mousesports side. And here's another thing to sort of bring forward. In the head-to-heads, the 4 best-of-3s that have been played between Mouse and Big so far, 2 of which have actually